Everybody's quiet and well behaved. We want to welcome you tonight. We're expecting a lot more folks, so I know people are going to be coming in after we get started, so please help them find, I'm not going to make you guys like in church, move to the middle, but please help make room for people as they come in. We're so glad to have you here tonight at the Lifelong Learning. We've been doing this for several years now, and we are have had so much fun and feel like people have gained so much, and you've gotten a chance to connect with each other over all of the MBA programs. So we want to welcome you once again. I know a whole lot of you. My name is Cynthia Lynch, and I'm the Director of Student Engagement, working with the Executive MBA program. So I know my MBAs, but I also know some of the rest of you. I want to make one quick announcement. There is a new MBA annual fund. People always say, well, you guys never actually asked me to give to Scheller. Well, now we're asking. Okay, so we think it's important that Scheller be able to continue these programs. And while we have a budget for it, we want to be able to develop and deliver and enhance the offerings that we have. And that's why we've created a fund that goes directly to the MBA programming, for all MBA programs. And I just want to thank you in advance for your support. Isn't that what you're supposed to say? Thank you in advance for your support of the Scheller MBA Annual Fund. If you have questions, you can speak to Kate Connect Me, who's right up there. And Kate will be, she'll be with us afterwards too. Or if you can't find how to contribute and you really want to, reach out to me and I'll connect you with Kate, okay? So, now I want to bring you to the best part. We are so excited to have Manpreet Hora. Professor Hora has been with us since 2008, teaches in both the MBA programs and undergraduate. He's an associate professor here at Scheller. His research is in the areas of operational failures, innovations, service operations, and supply chain management. He's published in journals such as Management Science, the Journal of Operations Management, where he serves as department editor, Production and Operations Management, where he's a senior editor for the journal. His research awards include the Chan Han Best Paper Award from the Academy of Management, and his work has been covered by NPR, CNN Money, and Bloomberg Business Week. Wow, huh? So prior to joining academia, he has some real-world business experience. Dr. Hora worked at Deutsche Bank in Singapore, New York, and London. His last appointment involved managing an operations team in foreign exchange derivatives, Frankfurt, Germany. He received his PhD from the University of Western Ontario in Canada, his MBA from Griffith University in Australia, and is a CFA charter holder from the CFA Institute. Also, in addition to teaching MBA and undergraduate, he also teaches in our executive education programs on things like service operations management, supply chain performance and managing risks, operational excellence, service innovations for such companies as Bank of America, Coca-Cola Company, and Clorox. His teaching awards include the class of 1940 W. Rowan Beard Outstanding Teaching Award, the CLBP Junior Faculty Teaching Excellence Award, and the Brady Family Award for Faculty Teaching Excellence. So, a whole lot. But those of you who know him best and have had him in class know him more personally than even this. But I wanted to make sure you knew about all of these details. Help me in welcoming Dr. Hora.
That's it, folks. We are done. You just came here, paid, parked your cars, and listened to my show off. Right? Very good evening. And thank you. A round of applause to you guys to make it. And sit down here. All right. I know several of you, and I remember your names as well. I've been here since 2008, and today's sort of nugget is on operational excellence. This topic I generally don't cover in class. This is a topic which is sort of abound around us. So if I go to LinkedIn and look at your profiles, several of you are operational excellence director. Maybe working for Delta Airlines in operational excellence. Operational excellence delivery manager. There are companies that have created departments on operational excellence. And I scratched my head and said, what the hell is this? What is operational excellence? How are we compartmentalizing it? How are we internalizing it? And how are we contextualizing it? And today is my 2 cents along those aspects. Specifically, please pay attention to beyond the colon there. It's going beyond efficiency. A lot of time, operational excellence is sort of internalized as efficiency. And I cringe when we stop at efficiency. Let's try and unbundle as much as you can going along. You know this is participative. You're sitting in class. It's not a 3-hour class. There is not a coffee break. There is actually some drinks that we are allowed to have. So say anything you want. You got your degrees. Bring it back. And I don't have to sort of flatter you guys. You're not giving me stock options. My evaluations are done. Right? So let's go and make it fun. All right, I need to find the presenter So the key learnings, we still need to have an agenda slide. And the 4 bullet points we have here is operational excellence should not be seen as a cost center before we jump into it. A lot of times we pick these aspects up and we say we are reducing cost. We're improving efficiency. And as we put those markers to it, our minds go back to, hey, we did this in the 90s, Six Sigma. We did it in a lean management class. We have this imperative. They want to fire us. And those sort of thinking mindsets comes into place. Peter Drucker said it well. Culture eats strategy for breakfast, lunch, dinner, drinks, whatever you want to add, right? It does. If we don't have psychological safety in our employees as we embark on technology to bring in straight-through processing or whatever we are using with enough automation happening around us in services, in routinizing, in standardizing, we may lose out on a lot of intellect that our employees have. So it becomes really important to pay attention to say, hey, it's not only for cost, it's also enhancing revenues. We can hit the top line too with operational excellence. And then the onus lies on us as managers to bring that out. Second bullet point, while operational excellence is sort of a fluff word, sounds good, we need to have it, so bloody what? What can we do and build metrics around it? And the 2 sort of rules of thumb I want to give you today is, think of your metrics which are customer facing and which of them are inward looking. And how do you balance those trade-offs? The ones that are customer facing, hey, I want to give you good quality, responsiveness, reliability. I want to be there for you. At the same time, you want to be asset thin, you want to reduce costs. How do you manage and trade those off? That's a key element when you're looking at operational excellence and managing those trade-offs. Operational excellence is not a tool. It is not Six Sigma. It is not statistical process control. It's not house of quality. Tools are there once we believe in operational excellence. And that plays a part. We have tools to make sure that if we break our activities up, once we are drawing out our process analysis, we are going back and doing value stream mapping, which of these are value-added activities and which are non-value-added activities. And that's the time we should be looking at those tools. Let's not start with tools. So that's the broad learning objectives I want to bring out. What is operational excellence? Let's start with what operational excellence is not, rather than saying what it is. What is not operational excellence? You're smart guys sitting here. You just parked your Lamborghinis and your 7 Series and you just come here. Come on. What is operational excellence or what is not operational excellence? I know names. I remember them. I may make a mistake. I may call out on you. Nathan, right? You just walked in. No. And especially if I remember you were a school teacher. Yes. So now, what do you think operational excellence is not, Nathan? You came in late, you made eye contact, I'm sorry. Right? Yeah. So we're not performing well on some key performance metrics, maybe operational excellence. What it is not is you're not looking at key performance metrics on their own. That's one. Second, it is not operational efficiency. Third, it is not just for operations. Operational efficiency, operational is an adjective here. It's not a noun. Very easily, if you're working in sales, you're working in trading, you're working in the front end, you're working in R&D, you start looking at this and saying, well, it's for operations. They know what processes. Let them make it better. They understand productivity. Let them make it better. The intent is this is not just for operations. It has to be a company-wide endeavor as you are spending millions and millions of dollars, keeping them aside to implement on this. What else is not operational excellence? Operational excellence is not a tangible recipe for success. You're building that as a cultural mindset, but it's not a tangible recipe for success. If we make that a tangible recipe for success, chances are we start looking at shedding and letting people go. And finally, it's not discrete. It has to be continuous improvement. It is an iterative cycle. It is not discrete management process where we put money and we think of it as a project and it's done and dusted. So what's not operational excellence? Let's go to a quick example to bring in class. I'll let you read this from Forbes. Why United Airlines abuses customers. The risks of operational excellence. Are there any airlines folks in the room? Parag, if I remember your name correct, right? There is, I hope you're Delta, you're Southwest. United as well. But this article is not written by anybody from Georgia Tech, otherwise I would dare not put it on the screen out here, right? It's written by somebody from Forbes, and it says the risks of operational excellence. This article came out in 2017. Remember what happened then? They removed that guy from the plane, Malcolm, and why? Yeah, and nobody was volunteering. Correct. And Dr. Dow was volunteered forcibly to leave the plane, and it just, social media in this time, it just picked up really aspect, and Oscar Munoz had to come out with different sort of reactions when a service failure happens. You know, you go through different things, hey, it wasn't our fault. Bloody hell, the stock price is falling. It's our fault. But it wasn't, you know, the management's fault. Something else happened, and we go through all these defense mechanisms as companies when these things occur. So I want you to just look at this article before we jump to operational excellence. The article says, problem with CEOs and leadership teams is focus on operational excellence as a strategy. They become so focused on efficiency, cost cutting and business operations that they forget about customers or anything else. All that matters is keeping the business operating to keep costs low. And they're rewarded for operational performance while all other metrics are ignored, including customer satisfaction. I disagree with the author. That's the reason I put it up there. The article continues to say, United isn't alone in its failures due to operational excellence focus. Walmart has been the victim of bad management judgment for the same reason. If you remember, Tracy Morgan was an actor on Saturday Night Live, was hit in an accident, and almost a near-death accident. And it was come to say that, hey, Walmart trucks had to be on time because they were meeting deadlines. And as a result, this happened because there was pressure on the drivers as it's happening. Clemens, right? And we'll just get to you, Clemens. Give me 1 second. Yeah. Absolutely. But Indeed. Now, is that operational excellence is a question, right? Not breaking the law, of calling it operational excellence. Adam Harding calling this operational excellence. If we want to go beyond this, by being Georgia Tech MBAs, what is operation? What's missing in the piece missing here? Right, the author has picked up something on efficiency, right? How productive I am in using my assets. You know, how quickly I'm turning my restaurant table and chairs around. How quickly I'm turning my inventories around. How quickly I'm turning my property and plot and equipment around. How quickly is my ROA coming along, the return on assets. You get something from the balance sheet, something from the income statement, and bringing them together. It is not this. This is one pillar of operational excellence. If nothing else, let's just pick this up. This is one of the P's, and that's called process. But it's not complete. Anytime we want to look at operational excellence, let's pay attention to the other two P's. It's purpose, process, and people. These are the three things that we want to start with for making operational excellence. And in my learning from companies that are working, a lot of times we start at process and then we go to purpose and people. Process is easy. Let's start assessing our process. Let's draw our process flows. We have MBAs, we have industrial engineers, we have Visio, we have PowerPoint. Hey, there's lots available. We are using SAP. We can draw fancy diagrams. Yes, you can. But for what? Start with the purpose. And a lot of times, the purpose, broadly, when you're looking at end-to-end service systems or end-to-end supply chains, is bringing out end customer value. That should be some purpose that you should be starting at. Whatever that value is and however your company defines that value. And that's your order winner. The purpose of operational excellence is to win to revenues and profits, stakeholders, customers, but that's your order winner. But what's your order qualifier? The minimum threshold you should meet is without compromising on operational risks. So I cannot compromise on safety. Compliance or no compliance. I need to have that minimum threshold to meet. That's why mitigating the operational risk, I should be looking at an order winner. What am I doing with this? Now, it may change. It's not discrete. It may be continuous as it goes along. But I would certainly urge you to start with purpose. Second is process. We know the purpose. How is our process defining and aligning with our purpose? That should be the point. A lot of operations classes, and I'm to blame as well, we look at processes and we start with processes. But let's define scopes, let's identify opportunities. Clemens, you had your hand up here. Indeed. Correct. So once you do the purpose, when you get to the process, chances are a lot of us in larger organizations, and I'm assuming, we're talking for firms that are publicly listed, have huge legacy systems may not be talking to each other. We've gone through mergers and acquisitions. We want to make sure, that system happens. And there we talk about customer value. Bloody hell, we don't talk to each other. Forget customer, right? To build that in, the question is we have process owners or process heads who are running that budget of running that particular process. So once we are bringing this process aspect in, what you want to do is you want to first look at your processes vertically, and then you want to look at your processes horizontally. A lot of times if you talk to process owners, they will know their process, perhaps if they're smart, a process upstream or a process downstream. It's really hard and challenging. Company walls don't allow us to look at the full process. We understand we are processing a trade, or a product, or a service. But at that level, who's the customer? Why don't we draw customer flow diagrams rather than process flow diagrams? And those customer journeys that we're going through now, mapping those out, that's one sort of manifestation that's happening to understand. Processes are important for us as process owners to improve our own KPIs. Question is, does it give customer value? And we need to start assessing. Our first step zero is to assess processes as we do that. But being mindful of what are we running the process for. And the younger companies that are starting in new greenfields, they have that opportunity. If they have founders who have that vision to make it happen, it's easier for them to make it happen and execute. Larger companies, it's really challenging to make this happen. Process becomes a really important point. Third is people. If I'm drawing a service triad, employees play a huge role. And anytime you give a project like this to the people who have to measure it, chances are they're going to say, is it going to represent me rather than representing the process? People are proxy for the process, not vice versa. People are just doing as good the process is. It's not to penalize people there, it's to improve processes. And that psychological safety needs to be there within employees as you embark upon these operational excellence journey. Pick up the annual report of Fortune 100 companies. 15 of them in the last 3 years are going through operational excellence journey. Between $150 million to $800 million. It's a lot of money that you're taking out, which you do for CRM implementations, ERP implementations. Those are projects. Operational excellence starts with a project, but it has to be continuous. That's a lot of money as you're investing in these endeavors to be something to be mindful of in a classroom setting that we can bring out. So people, it needs to engage people. They need to they're your first line of defense to understand what's happening, where it can improve, and if we use technology in lieu of people, these people will be used for higher level, different jobs. You're transferring people. You're taking out the routinization and standardization of the jobs. So if you are drawing a triangle, purpose is on the top. On the left side, you have process. On the right side, you have people. I repeat, if you're drawing the triangle, purpose is on the top. On the left side, you have process. On the right side, you have people. And we haven't talked about the arrows right now. Are the arrows bidirectional? Are they single directional? But in the middle of the triangle, what you can put right now, and a lot of times I get this question when this module is being facilitated in a longer setting is, hey, what about technology? Where is technology? We have a whole MOT program here. And what from my evaluations, they'll be saying, where the hell is technology? Right? Technology can come in the middle there. In that particular triangle, you're helping improve the technology is a huge enabler that it plays a part. And that enabler is helping us streamline processes, to go through straight through processing, use machine learning, AI, IoT. Lots of things are happening around us. But we need, from the operational excellence piece, to keep these three things in mind. Process, people, and purpose. Any questions? I can't see from my right eye. I don't know if I told you that. So I don't know who's raising their hands here, but anyway, Clemens, go on. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Right. So you've sort of answered my question, but you put a question to me in what I was trying to say. This has to come from top management. First. Second, you've got to set expectations. This is a long process. We are in for the journey. These people are busy in their day-to-day job. You throw this in them. Bloody hell. Looks nice in a classroom. They are busy with their own work. Now you've thrown this in. And what's the buy-in? What's the buy-in for these folks who are working on this? So you need a uniform set of language. Because if you just throw processes out, and if you call this process excellence, chances are you're going to lose a lot of people out. Specifically, who've been working for a longer time. Oh, I've seen this. Yet another one that's come along. I saw this in the 90s as well. I've been through this 3 times. And believe me, nothing is going to happen. And that sort of evokes memory in people. So to answer your question, the business has to see value in this at a higher level. This is a cost. And a lot of companies are. The reason being because they're going through this transformation journey, digitalization has become a huge word, and they want to draw this out. And one anchor, if you want to build it into, saying, okay, why am I doing this? Am I exploring? Am I exploiting? What am I doing? Hey, I need to do it because my competitors are doing it. I listened about this in the conference. I played golf with other CEO. They talked about it, and I felt out of place. But those are nice things, but you need to have that operational excellence piece to bring it out. And again, that's why I please want to remind you, operational excellence is not for operations, it's for business in general. That's a very good question. And if you have to think, if you are going through this exercise, one question the top management teams will be asking is, what does success look like? Right? What are we looking for success? Are we looking for, again, going back to our KPIs and saying, hey, we made it efficient? Well, gee, that's what we did with Lean. That's what we did with Six Sigma. And that becomes a challenge. And this comes on the company to say, what does success look like for us? Are we improving the process of delivering the service or making the product? Yes, ma'am. Correct. And that's sort of a natural, inherent obstacle that will come into play, specifically with technology-oriented companies. The thing is, how can we make them show, who own those technologies, what is the benefit of operational excellence? Now, if you're an innovation person, operational excellence can do two things for us. One, it can help us deliver innovation. Second, it's an innovation in itself. So there are two ways to look at it. One is it helps us deliver innovation. One is it becomes the innovation itself. So if we are looking at process, purpose, and the third one is people. Thank you. We're awake, right? Is as we are looking at those three P's, well, how do we define that and make it into revenues and profits? Sounds good. And if Clement says, what will success look like? This is a long race. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. But one way to relate it over time is if you look at the three P's on the left, which is your service design, where you're making people are delivering effectively, processes are running efficiently, your services and products are meeting your customer expectation, that's where things happen outside the boundaries of the firm. Everything else is happening outside the boundaries of the firm, and that becomes your purpose, where you're hitting at customer experience, customer behavior, and business results. If top management team brings this in, you can actually start seeing efficacy of operational excellence that's happening. You link it, not short term, but long term in that aspect. So you need to have engaged people who are empowered. You need to have your processes which have now become efficient because you have technology helping it. People are looking at different things. You may have transferred some people because you went through your process analysis. But please, let me tell you, the process analysis thing, And people who are working in operational excellence, that can take 2 to 3 years on its own. If you really want to do it using all your lines of businesses, all your strategic business units, however your company is structured. It can take a long time to get it. You first got to assess. Then you got to build metrics. Then you got to find ways of improvement. Then you got to redesign. And as you're redesigning, people are there, you got to find places for them to work. And you're standardizing. And you're creating the horizontal processes, understanding those to keep the end customer in mind. It can be a long and arduous process. It doesn't have to be unexciting. And here you want to see what the customer wants. And a lot of times when we're thinking of customer experience and customer value, that word value there, and I don't know, some of you may have taken my class, you may remember that equation of value I may have shown. If you've forgotten it, it's no problems. I have it in the next slide, right? So if you are looking for value, what's customer value? Sorry? Anything that, so there's WTP, the willingness to pay. There's something with cost. He hammered it in class 10 times to Sunday, right? Yeah. Dipesh? Expectations and perceptions, what service quality? Yeah, you're there. You're getting there. It just takes a few times. You'll be there, close by. Just to pick up on the aspects you've said. Hey, Harleen, yeah? Right, so I mean, picking up all these and condensing this into an equation by saying what customers we see value, and we are talking of operational excellence, is it delivering? Because we had purpose, process, and people, and purpose we said customer value. I just said that, right? Well, let's talk about value here. So in that case of value, this is Georgia Tech. We have to give you an equation, right? We can't let you walk out. The tech part will be incomplete without we do that. So a nice way to think about it, and I think a powerful way to think about operational excellence is the price I paid in my denominator. In my numerator is, hey, what did I get? What's my utility derived from that particular service that's now being delivered with operational excellence, right? What's the effort and the cost I paid? And please keep in mind, the customer is there. So this is value subscript C. This is not the service provider's value. This is not the manufacturer's value. This is the customer's value, right? So we talk of processes, people, and purpose, and now we're trying to say, for what? For delivering customer value, let's figure out what value is. And that way, you can see a lot of times when we do operational excellence, results produced may be the same, but there's enhancement in process quality. So this is the customer's cost. Customer's cost to acquire the service, right? So think about this. And this is an example I've used several times. Anybody went to Starbucks this morning? I hope not to the one downstairs you've been several times. This is a good example for me because they take long times, right? But how long were you there, Alex, at Starbucks when you picked up your coffee this morning? Did you pick up a coffee at Starbucks? No. You're not giving money to them. Who gave money? Here, how much time did he spend at Starbucks? Like standing in line. Order and pay. Yeah. Now, if you didn't have the app, how long would you wait in line? The cost to acquire is not the price he paid. He also would wait 15 minutes and maybe get a parking ticket, right? Just wants a coffee to stay awake in an operational excellence class, right? So as a result, that's the cost to get the coffee for. Now, as Starbucks, how much do I incorporate it? Perhaps if I could reduce this denominator, which means the value goes up, and offer an app called Order and Pay. That improves process quality. The taste of coffee did not change. He's still getting that coffee the way he wanted it, but the process quality improved. The non-value added activities for Starbucks and for the customer changed. And that can also give value. So a lot of times when we go through these customer journeys and build operational excellence, it's not only to change the product or the service, but how we deliver it and how we make it. And that may be sort of palpable in this particular case to the customer. I want to use my order and pay. Yep. Indeed. I'll tell you what I do is, and I met Lindsay a couple of times, is there's a new Starbucks opened. I can't tell you how delighted I am. It's lovely. You know, it's great. I love it there. I go writing. I'm there at 5:30 in the morning. I'm one of the first customers to be there, coming from Roswell. At the same time, I try and come back for a refill here. It doesn't work because I bought the coffee the other place. But I try to be there, not looking for the 20% or the 10% discount because of those aspects that are built in. Right? So from an operational excellence perspective, maybe the product or the service, the core doesn't change, but the willingness to pay may change because the process quality improved. And operational excellence, going through our process, our purpose, our people should be delivering on better process quality. Clemens. Absolutely. You are sitting on mounds and mounds of data as well. Absolutely. Absolutely. And a lot of times, I'll just leave, before I move ahead, this customer value equation. If you're working in a business-to-business environment and you're doing CRM implementation or ERP implementation, a lot of times, your own employees, your departments don't adopt, right? They don't see the value. They are your clients. If I replace the word customer there, the price was almost negligible to them. They didn't pay anything. But cost to acquire the service looks really high to them. They don't want to spend that time to get that. And that brings their value down. So if I have to draw the same parallel for operational excellence, if your own employees don't see value in operational excellence, we can use the same equation that is an outcome of operational excellence as an input to operational excellence as well. Well, will my employees see value in this operational excellence or endeavor? And that becomes an important point. So at times, we may be doing certain things after operational excellence, which may be enhancing process quality and reducing cost to acquire the service at the same time. If we can do that, that's fantastic. So going back to the example of order and pay, that example, Doug, actually hits at both. It helps me reduce cost to acquire the service. At the same time, it improves process quality. Be wait times, be parking, it would be speed of service, be how my payments are processed. All those elements play a part here. Any questions? It's possible. So please keep in mind, the numerator has something the company provides to the customer. The denominator has what the customer brings to the table for acquiring that service. I give you a price, going back to Starbucks example, right? $3 or $4 for the coffee. At the same time, I expended my effort, my time, my cost for the service. What is this Starbucks providing? They're trying to give some results to the customer, and they're trying to improve quality. And that quality can come from my customer satisfaction surveys. Right? I can get it from my customer satisfaction survey saying, hey, how was the taste of the coffee? The wait times? Somebody else help me? What else can be? Cleanliness of the place? Friendliness of the servers? That cost is for the customer. That cost is not for the service provider. That's Nathan's cost, not Starbucks' cost. Now, Starbucks is going to be spending in time on improving the quality. A good example is Chick-fil-A. I mean, again, going back to retail organizations, those are the easy ones to pick on. Or praise them. Chick-fil-A, a lot of times we go there is bloody sandwich. That's it. Still has those calories. But it just tastes good with great customer satisfaction and great customer service. And our value changes as we look at it. They have kept the process quality. People are ready to still stand in line. Some of you may have stood at Chick-fil-A over lunchtime, maybe for 15, 20, 25 minutes in drive-thrus, and they try to make that service better. It's still the same chicken sandwich. So going back, why are we talking about this? We're talking about this to say, hey, I've done something in my operational excellence. What would success look like over time? I'm hoping, because my purpose was giving customer value, what has changed in customer value? Well, let's figure it out. Let's see how would they be defining value at their level? And this could be one way to capture this. Yep. Yep. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So what they're missing out is on the retention part, right? So attraction is the acquisition part, and they want to grow through the new part, but the retention is equally important. And specifically in those companies and those industries where acquisition costs are high. Mm-hmm. Correct. Right. So, and again, this I may have spoken in some classes, is we need to differentiate between customer acquisition, customer retention, and customer loyalty. I repeat, customer acquisition, customer retention, and customer loyalty. Customer acquisition is when the company pays to acquire the customer. Customer retention is when the company pays to keep the customer. All those loyalty points are not loyalty points, retention points. You want to keep those customers, you're giving them free hotel nights. You're giving them flights. It's for retaining. Customer loyalty is when the customer pays to stay with you. They do not switch. And we do not reach that stage because a lot of times we want to bring in customers. Our incentive structures and marketing are aligned to bring in customers, to cross-sell, to upsell, bringing them in. But retention comes, hey, Verizon, you're having an issue, and you say, I want to cancel my service. So we'll put you to retention. Bloody hell. Why is retention coming so much in the end? Why wasn't it there before in the process? So a lot of companies, the incentive structures, the way they are aligned more for acquisition, less so for retention. And that becomes a challenge. And we can do a quick experiment. If you are working for, let's say, Dell Enterprises or Dell Computers, and you press the number 1-800-DELL, press 1 for sales, press 2 for technical support. Who picks up quicker? You need those new customers. Technical support, you guys can wait. That's pain. That's a cost center. And our systems are aligned in that way to segregate. Because one we see as a revenue center and one we are seeing as a cost center. If we see retention of customers when we want to attract them and retain them and not just bringing them for discounts, that's where they should be seeing value. And they're not switching. And that's a challenging part for a lot of companies. A lot of articles have been written on that area as this becomes sort of an inherent thing, because a lot of us as companies, what are we doing? We are having a transactional relationship. We're not having a relationship. I want Netflix. I cut the cord. I don't want a relationship with you anymore. You charge me a lot of money. I'll go out to Buffalo Wild Wings and watch my sports. Right? And Netflix tells us you can disconnect it anytime. We still don't do it. We're ready to pay those $10, $12, $13 there. And a lot of times, they're still paying through acquisition, charter, Time Warner, they'll keep sending us all this nice, colorful letters at home, which we then throw out and not read through. Yes, please. Mm-hmm. 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 However, and I've created a whole new course now on as a service. That's my topic. As a service, because software started as a service in early 2000s, and then platform as a service, information as a service. Why can't coffee be as a service? And 3 companies are working on it right now. I'm working with one of them to create it as a service. The bummer is the retention part. How do we understand our service systems and supply chains? Now we are telling engineers to become a customer savvy sales force. Bloody hell. The reason they did engineering was to avoid that customer contact. Make me draw a process flow diagram, I'll do it for you. 10 ways to Sunday. I'll make a nested one for you. And it'll be beautiful. I wanted to be a radiologist. I didn't care about bedside manners, but now I have to. Right? So that changes the whole company as well. And that's the transformation we're talking about. And that shift in the service design or the company design is a challenge. If we want to reach that retention, that becomes an antecedent or a precursor to get there. And a lot of companies are going through this and spending a lot of dollars to make that happen. My time is coming up, I think, looks like. What time do I have? I'm probably between now and a beer or wine or whatever we are feeding them. Yeah. Okay? So from this perspective, this looks nice in a classroom. How do we create this linkage in the real world? You guys are working. And some of you are saying, yeah, back in the classroom. It looks good. How do I do this? Data is your best friend here. You need to start collecting data now. With so much of data, if you're in the retail industry, there's a lot of POS level data, POS, point of sales data that you can use. There's a lot of customer complaint data that you can use. Why aren't we using objective measures? Why is consultants the first line of defense? Right? There's enough within companies with so much of terabytes and terabytes of data available, as long as there's veracity of data, there's velocity of data, and there's variety of data. The 3 things that make big data. Now those can be brought in when you're thinking of operational excellence. Now, on delivering operational excellence, I'll take the last 2 minutes on saying, yeah, we need to build tools to do this. And this is the time you need to be mindful of the tools not taking over the philosophy. And the tools broadly are, the first couple of ones you can see is, you want to eliminate waste in your processes. Go back into your processes, if you're doing your processes, see what type of process do you have. Do you have an assembly process? Do you have a batch process? Do you have a continuous flow process? Or do you have a project type process? That becomes important. And this should be telling you, majority of the time, the reds are the non-value added activities. And we know it. We work in these areas and say, why the hell am I doing this? Well, because this system doesn't talk to the system, so we have to enter it 2 times. And because we don't trust you, we have to check what you entered as well. This goes back to the same analogy of, banks, where you would get money and you deposit it in the bank. First you counted it to deposit in the bank, then the teller counted it, then somebody else counted the teller's money to make sure the money was there. And then the chopped security van came in. They counted the money to make sure that the money they're giving is counted. Then they take it to another central place. They count the money. In the end, I just deposited money, guys, just to show it in my deposit. And you can see how non-value activities were there. And with a lot of disruptions with PayPal, with Venmo, Alipay, Paytm, this phenomena happening around M-Pesa in South Africa and Kenya, a lot of things happening around us are disrupting those models and saying, we can reduce those non-value added activities and at the same time delight the customer. So we want to reduce those non-value added activities, and broadly, this is what we want to pay attention on. If we can look at the value added activities and say, can we bypass those? That's a different question that your process analysis should be telling you. But there may be some low-hanging fruit that you can look at. So broadly, there are several tools. One of them is value stream mapping. Anybody uses them in your own work area? Doug sort of somewhat there. Huge resistance. But this could be one good tool, because when you use the word value stream mapping, the intent of value stream mapping is you're not only drawing out processes, you're drawing out processes from the perspective of the customer. Thank you, you're still in class, right? That's the end game you want to go with it. So what have we done in this 55 minutes? We just motivated and scratched the surface of the topic of operational excellence, said it goes beyond operational efficiency. We started talking about what operational excellence is not. It is not a tangible recipe for success. It is not just operational efficiency. It is not just for operations. It is not discrete. And those become aspects, and that it's not a tool or an excuse to let people go. Now let's talk about what is operational excellence. And the two examples were the Walmart example and the United example from 2017. But what is then operational excellence? One starting point could be to look at the 3 Ps. Process, people, purpose. Thank you. They're ready for beer, right? Those 3 are those aspects that we want to pick up on. We sort of started to pick those up, and that can be, one purpose can be about 3 or 4 bullet points on its own. It could mean different things for different companies, different things for different industries. Then it's processes. As much as we can make the process and bring operational transparency in those processes, it will help the firm. It will help the customer as well. If you can link and make process owners talk to each other, really, really challenging. But that's what you want to do if this is really an exercise in understanding the purpose. Otherwise, it will again be a process improvement exercise, nothing more than that. From there, we talked to the 3 Ps, and we said, well, that works. How will it give value? Very briefly, we talked of the value equation. It can get into retention, to your question. We need to differentiate between acquisition, retention, and loyalty. And that should translate into higher revenues, lower costs, and then translate into higher profits. We could have talked a lot about capabilities and metrics. Are they efficiency oriented? Are they responsiveness oriented? Are they flexible? Where does the customer come into play? And I have many more slides for that. But I hope this was a discussion in a warm room, brought back some memories of saying how boring those classes were, right? And thank you for being a great audience. And I'm going to be around for any Q&A, and I'm an email away or LinkedIn away in case there are any questions, or you want to refute something, or you need more information on something.